Hi, welcome to F Your Life Up, a podcast about what happens when you blow up the life you had to build the one you actually want. With me, as always, is Katie and Crystal, and I'm your host, Sam. Thanks for joining us. How's it going, ladies?
Awesome. How are you,
friends? Good. Yeah, there's been a lot happening, obviously, in the last couple of weeks since we gave you a last update. So we wanted to fill you guys in. Who wants to go first? Shall we do a lottery now?
Let's start with Kate. I want to hear what's up with Katie.
Oh, I've got a lot of good stuff.
Okay, all right. Let's start.
I'm super pumped. I think the last time we did like an official update, I told everyone about I'm working with a charity. It's called Cancer Can Rock. It's really great. We raise money to put artists into the recording studio to kind of give them a day of like forgetting about cancer. And the organization has teamed up with like Rufus and Martha Wainwright. We had a big Christmas concert that had been announced involving like Beck, which was really cool. Yeah. But so I'm juggling that, but then it's kind of like when it rains, it pours, right? So I also got asked to join the board at Women, WIMN, which is Women's International Music Network. Nice. And these are the ladies that put on the She Rocks Awards every year. And it's a great organization. They've worked with, everyone from like the Go-Go's and the Bangles. It's just a really cool organization to be a part of, getting to share women's voices in the music industry and the camaraderie and the support. And that has now led to, and you follow me here, guys. I know you're like, wait, what are you talking about?
This is a lot.
So I joined that board. And now there's this event, and some of you may have heard about it, especially if you live in Southern California, but there's an annual event. It's called NAMM. NAMM, right? And it's the North American Musical Merchants thing. Think of this as like South by Southwest, but of all the equipment. So anyone who makes like the Shure microphones, Fender guitars, Gibson guitars, Yabba Dabba Doo guitar pedals, right? So all these people come together and they converge in Anaheim in January every year. I think last year they had over 50,000 attendees. They came to me because they're trying to open up just the thought process and inclusion of women, because obviously rock and roll and music is very male dominated. So they
most things are.
Yeah. And so they want to do this leadership panel, a 3-hour discussion with like 200 to 300 women from the music industry, and they asked me to lead it and create it. So I'm going to be doing a 3-hour workshop with all these great female executives, and I get to curate and figure out like the entire thing. Like, what am I going to talk about? Which I was really excited about. And then now I'm totally panicking, because in talking with the organization, we want to make sure that we talk about the crisis in just the employment industry as well as music industry as well, of, being prepared to pivot, so obviously, giving the skills to these women, to the experience that I've had in this last year, right? Be prepared, get that LinkedIn set, how to, network and not feel needy or appear to be needy, your emotional IQ. So I kind of want to do all these things, but I'm thinking, and hear me out, ladies, I've been fortunate enough to interview thousands of rock stars, female and male. And so taking kind of anecdotes and stories that they have told me and kind of twist them into lessons, rock and roll lessons, that women can use to empower their profession, kind of. So finding, a great story that I've heard from like Lita Ford, or finding a great story from Nancy Wilson, kind of go back to those interviews and comb, through them and be like, oh yeah, I remember when Winona Judd told me this, which kind of motivates you to act like this in the workplace. Like, are you feeling the vibe?
That? Yeah, like having a through line, like you're not just going down it willy-nilly, but you have a theme, for the session. That's cool.
Yeah. And then I have photos with all these people, so I figure like I can have a slide.
Yeah, you need a visual support is always good when you're sitting in a room for 3 hours. Yeah.
But it's weird. And I mean, again, I have to refer to Crystal, because as our resident woo-woo, although we did have a good full moon recently, and I put all my
it was so good. Yeah, I saw you put your crystals out, and I thought
Yes.
My job here is done.
I do. But I had thought when I, was laid off a year ago, I thought to myself, I have all these great stories
Mhm.
and I certainly have the skill set for public speaking. How are these people going out to these like conferences and talking in Holiday Inns? And why aren't I on the Holiday Inn circuit? And I kind of had just been thinking about that, but I didn't really put it in the universe. But it
Yeah.
must have been
You
put out
put
there
it.
enough that this is not a Holiday Inn. This is,
This is so much better than the Holiday Inn.
there's like going to be 300 people there. There's going to be multiple round tables with
Wow.
tablecloths.
It's something when I quit my job, my financial advisor was like, well, you've got all this experience. You can be an influencer. You can go, write a book. You have something to give the world now with all of the years of experience that you have. And it is kind of a weird place to be in life where you're like, I have something to offer now. I can be the teacher. That's a really cool thing to be able to do, Katie. I'm really excited for you. I hope you do well.
If you write a book, can we name it? Because, obviously, for those of you just tuning in, with your history as a zookeeper of 20 years, can it be called like Digging Through the Shit?
Oh, you know me. I love creating things that have cuss words in the title. So yes, I'm going to do that.
So,
Yes.
but no, it's so funny. One of my lady mentors over at the She Rocks in Women Network did say, she's like, maybe we could take your lessons that you're going to be putting into this conference and those become the chapters of your book.
Yeah.
I was like, what book? She's like, the book we're going to write. And I was like, oh man, I love her.
Yeah. I support
love
it. I would read it. I would probably listen to it. Actually, I'm more of a listener, but do it. I think it's great. And not just to people that, are into the rock thing. I think you can spin it in a way that is applicable to anybody. Right. So I fully support it. Go for it. Yeah. I was going to say we should take a little bit of break and then go over and hear about Crystal's updates.
We're back from break.
We're back. Thanks so much for coming back and continuing to listen to our update episode. All right, Crystal, do you want to give us some real estate updates? What have we been up to with our flipping?
Well, okay, my update, I have like a existential update and a real estate update. Okay, so let me start with real estate and then I'll like explain where I've been and just like in my headspace because we're here to be real. So I'm going to be real today. Okay, so here's what's happened in real estate. On our last update, we had gotten all of our ducks in a row. We were like, we had our LLC and our bank account and we were ready with all of our funds and we were going to dive in. We've been sort of tracking this house in my neighborhood. We like the numbers in this neighborhood and we're going to maybe think about doing a farm, which is like a mailer to try and get potential houses. And then literally out of nowhere, like all of these houses started coming on the market. Like there was this weird explosion over this like 2 or 3 week period where all these houses came on the market. And one ended up being like right next door to the house we were identifying that we liked, which was so weird. And then another one was around the corner and just like these houses kept popping up. So we got to, start the process of like going to look at houses and they were all on market houses, which is not like, it's not great for us because if a house is on the market, there's going to be competition. And the first one that popped up that we were interested in, I think it's fun. Like Sam and Katie, like you guys got a chance to like experience what it's like when this happens. Cause it's like, we got to move,
it was panic. You would send text messages like, we're going now. And I was like, I don't have shoes on.
Yeah. I'd be like, who's coming? We're going, And what's crazy is like the first one that we liked, we basically like we didn't move fast enough. Like we ended up writing an offer, but he already accepted the offer and it was on the market like 4 days.
Especially in this digital world now, like you can get the paperwork going super quick. And I felt like we were pretty quick, but not that quick.
Okay. On that one, we kind of hesitated because we went, I got all in my head. I started second guessing. I was like, maybe this isn't a good one. Then Sam saw it. Sam was like, this is a good one. Let's do it. And
so can you remind, like, just talk about like, what were the things that were making you hesitate?
Yeah. Okay. So my main concern about this one is that it was on a corner that
Mhm.
had some traffic noise. And the house, if we all recall, the listing that I had this year that expired, the reason it expired is because it was on a busy street. So I learned this important lesson / got this PTSD that, you know, in LA, people are really picky about traffic noise. And so that kind of freaked me out. But then Sam came over and was like, that's not an issue. Like, this is still a great property. And
I'm also somebody
you were
who's lived
right.
on an alley and lived on busy streets my entire life,
That's
so
true,
I'm
yeah.
probably not the best person to ask.
Well, no, you were not wrong about this house. Like, this still could have been I think it could have been. I was nervous about the traffic noise a little bit in the location, but numbers wise, I think it could have been a good one. And we wrote a really good offer.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, wait, hold on, back up, because so I didn't get to see this place. This is one that I didn't go to, and so I was just following the text chain and everything. And I would say though that is a concern. That, I mean, and that even though the comps in a neighborhood might go for a little bit higher because they don't, like, I feel like don't you automatically have to tick off like 10,000 for a weird
Yes.
location?
Yeah, and 100%. Yeah, 100%. And we kind of did. Like, I kind of had factored that in a little bit. Like, I knew that was going to be a small issue. The other issue is that the house next door to it is severely distressed and like looks like a hoarder house. So that freaked us out too. But then we thought maybe there's a way we can buy both of them and just buy up this neighborhood.
Because we're rich.
Well, Crystal and I had this fantasy of it's monopoly. We're gonna own the whole street.
We're gonna own the whole street. But so in this case, like, I got freaked out. I was like, ugh. And then Sam was like, "This is a great house. Stop being crazy." We wrote an offer. This was only over 4 days, okay, and they had already accepted an offer. Yeah. And which was interesting because I saw the developers the second that came on the market. I saw the developers swarming. Okay, they all rolled up in their, you know, black Range Rovers, and they all have a certain look, and they're all male. And every house that we've gone and looked at, like, we're the only, it's all only developers, you know, looking at them. And we are the only women, which is my experience across the board for all of this. We're the only female developers in the city currently. Yeah. So we lost out on that one, but then another one the next day came on the market in similar vibe, right? So of course, like, we're over there, you know, and this time we were quicker. And we brought my contractor over to take a look too, because that's a big piece of it is like, you know, we need to say, like, here's our vision. Here's what we're allotting for renovation. And can we do this for the amount? So we kind of need to like walk it with him. And on that one, he was basically like, you can't afford that. Like, you need to get this house for $200,000 cheaper. So we did right on that one, but I think we ended up redacting our offer or something. I can't remember what happened, but
yeah, we the big thing that I'm starting to realize is the ARV, right? Yes, we have the money. We can scale up and down how much we do for the renovation, but if we can't sell it for the price that we need to in order to not just make our money back, but make money on it, the ARV becomes a limiting factor. But if you can get more square footage out of the place, okay, now you're talking. So that ended up becoming the reason why we needed to spend more money on the renovation. And then it just becomes, well, what's the point? And yes, if we could get it for $200,000 less, then there'd be room. But we're keeping an eye on that one, and it's still there, right? So
it just went under contract today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so and that one,
what I find happens then is those people come in, the developers, they scrape the entire house, and then they build up, and they can add as much square footage as they want and charge 4 times what we could in an ARV that we would sell it for.
Right. So that's kind of what we're running into is like, in order to sell the house for enough to get a big enough spread, we're oftentimes in these houses having to add square footage, either by doing an addition to the main house or by converting the garage into an ADU. Like, we just need to increase. All these houses are like 1,200, 1,400 square feet. Mm-hmm. And if we want to sell them for more, we need to get them closer to like 2,000, you know, in between 18 and 2,000.
can you chime in on this so that people understand one of the cost cutting corners that we do have if we, convert a back house or something like that into an ADU, or there are some like pre-approved plans out there that make it a little bit cheaper for us to do something like that, right?
Yeah, like in terms of cost, it is a little bit quicker and a little bit cheaper to just convert a garage into an ADU. And there's a whole different, like, there's all these different ways that you can add square footage to a house. Like, if you can have you can have an ADU and you can have a junior ADU on a property too. So there's all these things and when we walk these properties with my contractor, these are sort of all the questions that we ask him or ideas that he proposes to us. And then we walk away and we say, like, okay, if we buy this house for $900,000 and we put in $450,000 in renovation, what do we need to sell it for? For example, like, these are real numbers. And if we can't sell it in this scenario for $1.8 million, then we can't buy the house. So
Right.
our spread has to be so big. That's kind of what we're running into. So we moved on from that one. Another one came on the market that we all loved. Great neighborhood, cool house, like, would have been great. We decided, like, we're going in, we can make this work, and at a certain number, wrote an offer and heard right back from the agent. And he was like, we have 5 offers and you're the lowest.
Yeah. And he kept that one on the market for a while. He was really looking for multiples and he got it.
Yeah.
But that house needed everything. I mean, it was
so bad.
Heaters that were on the floor and that
house is from the 40s, untouched, but just such a great neighborhood, great spot. And that was hard because, like, we couldn't go up $100,000 to compete with the house. And at that point, like, we could have, but then we potentially would have been breaking even. Yeah. So this has all happened over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, essentially. And, like, it's kind of got me in my head a little bit, I'll be honest, because for like a number of reasons. Like, one reason is, like, okay, are we gonna be able to do this? Like, are we gonna be able to find a house that works? And I'm just, like, not feeling that confident, not because for any reason. It's just all me. It's just all in my head. Like, I know we can do it, and I've done it before, and people do it. But, after these 3 sort of, like, oh, why isn't it working?
No, Crystal, come on.
I know, you guys. I know that's.
But think about it. You're going through what LA homeowners and a lot of homeowners have, or, potential, buyers go through when markets are hot and you put in 10 offers at 100,000 over and you keep losing. I mean, that's what happened when I bought my house with my husband circa 2020, when, like, everything was like 20 offers and, like, you had to send cookies delivered to the owners and pictures of your kid trick or treating and all that stuff. So, like, I understand the spiral and the panic, but like, it's gonna work out.
It's gonna work. It's like, look, it's funny because I walk my buyers through this process all the time. Like, I had buyers that wrote offers for a year in the heyday, and like, I was so good at being, like, their steady, calm ship through the storm, and most of the time, like, I've done such a good job of being that this year, but this week, I think I'm sort of, like, looking back on the whole year of my career and feeling like I was feeling like I really needed a win. Like, I really wanted to be able to, like, get a property to get started on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just, like, maybe I'm feeling a little sorry for myself, which I don't want to, but I've just, like, I haven't had the career success this year that, like, I've had in the last 3 years, and so I'm questioning everything. Like, what's not working? What am I doing wrong? Like, is this crazy? Like, am I cut out for this? All of these things that happen when you are out on your own.
This is exactly where actually we need you in this place. We need you in this place because, as they always say, right? If you track down and write down your lowest lows in your life, Your
Yeah.
highest highs are coming right after them. So we're about to make bank because
Yeah,
you
we
are
gotta-
sweetheart.
Well,
We-
and we
yeah.
have a lot of tools, right? I mean, we can
Yeah.
still try to find something wholesale. We can still try. It's just going to take a little bit more digging, maybe. Doing the farm is still on the table, right? And if it's about finding a good deal, we just have to get a little scrappier about it. Doing something on market, it's always going to be like this, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, amongst the three of us, we just gotta dig in our heels and find a deal that nobody's thinking about. So I have confidence in us. That's why we're here for you,
That's why we need three of us,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna circle the wagons and figure out our
Mhm.
next strategy, and I'm gonna try to not sink low.
All right. Well, let's give you a little break, Crystal. How about that? Take a breath. We'll take a commercial break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. All right.
Yay.
Well, I guess I'm the one left, right?
Yeah, Sam, what's
That-
been going
that
on
is
with
my
you?
choice. Yeah. So
Yeah, fill us in.
So yeah, for me, I think the last time I gave an update, I was right at the end stage of negotiating a deal for buying a home staging business. This one was on the smaller side for all the businesses that I had been looking at. Smaller side meaning it was completely owner operated and run. So there weren't a lot of employees. It was the two owners were pretty much doing the day to day, and they were a pair, they were a duo. And the one moved away. And so, the cash flow hadn't been what it used to be. And that meant that their client list was also kind of on the cold side. And they were losing a little bit of market share because they hadn't been really active. And so I knew that with buying this one, while it made me more comfortable, like financially, because I wasn't having to put as much money in, it meant that I needed to be a little bit more active right at the beginning to kind of get things revved up and going again. And I was fine with that, but I'm one person, not two. Sometimes I'm two people when I've got enough sleep and and runway to go. But right now I'm one person. And so I was fine with that. But concurrent to all this, and I haven't really talked about it, my son has autism, and he just got diagnosed this year. And I've been investigating and talking to all the doctors and figuring out what he needs in order to help with that. And it didn't it just took a number of months basically during the negotiation process to figure out what the actual treatments were going to be. And turns out it's going to be 16, 18 hours a week commitment. So it's its own
Whoa.
part-time job.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. What does that mean? Like, is it okay? Can I dig in and ask some
Yeah, of
questions about
course.
this?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm totally
that sounds like after school, you're going to therapy for 2 or 3 hours. Is
Pretty
that
much. So it's
wow?
it's going to be 4 days a week after school, 4 to 7 for 3 days a week, and then adding Saturdays onto it for another 3 hours.
Wow.
So, and then there's still speech and OT therapy on top of that. So all up, it's a lot of time. And one of the reasons I wanted to F my life up was because I missed out on a lot of time with him. And if I'm being honest, feeling like his diagnosis got a little delayed because I had work on my mind all the time. And so knowing that has to be one of my priorities because he's family's first, right? Above everything else. I just knew that I couldn't in good conscience do both really well. Something was going to fail and fall off my plate. And so I told that business that I could not move forward because I had family obligations. So it was really hard because, I'd formed a little bit of a bond and a relationship with them. And I felt bad for them because they felt like they were right at the end stage and they were about to, get what they were looking for. But I had to make him the priority, and I will always stand by that no matter what. So now I'm just looking at another staging company, but it's a little bit bigger, which sounds scarier. It's more debt.
Yes. Explain.
I know. It doesn't seem like the right choice.
Yeah.
But they have active revenue. They have employees, right? So I wouldn't necessarily need to be the person on the day to day. They have a warm client list or a hot client list, I would say. And they just, I would just basically be kind of taking over what's already going on, which they have 3 kids, they have another business. So in my mind, they're able to balance all of these things really well. And their business is not, I wouldn't say passive, but it's flexible enough where they can do these other things. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So yeah, so we'll see. I just got a counter offer from them today. And I'm going to meet with my business coach to talk about what we should do in response, and we'll go from there.
Wow. That's exciting. And what is like best case, worst case scenario? Like, could this close in 2 weeks? Could this close in 2 months? Like, what's our timeline?
Yeah, so good question. So with this one, I'm going to need an SBA loan. So I've heard that process can take anywhere between 2 and 3 months for approval. Yeah. So, which is good. Again, it'll give me a little bit of time to kind of sort out the new routine with my son and hopefully get past the holidays. And then maybe by the new year, be able to get going. Now, I say all this, but I might not get it. I don't know. Maybe by the next update, I might be on a totally different path. I'll buying a laundromat somewhere. I don't know. but for now, this is where I'm at. So yeah, so 2 to 3 months to get the SBA loan financing approved. The kicker with that is it's a personal guarantee. Basically, they look at your personal credit history because, and then they can also put a lien on your home. So like there's all of those kind of stressors that go onto your mind about it. But the cash flow is so great that I should be able to take care of the debt service, no problem, and then have plenty left over. So that's kind of exciting. So as long as I'm able to like manage the business well, and they're going to give me 3 months of training, and they want to stick on after that and help whenever necessary, as long as I can continue the success that they've already had, then I should be fine. But, it's going to be, at least a 7-year loan. And so, yeah, so that's kind of overwhelming to think about, like being in that much debt for that long. But it's exciting because it's the exact career that I want to go down, and it's the right size. Oh, and it's closer. That was the other thing.
That's good.
It's just
LA traffic. That's important. That's a real thing.
Yeah, their warehouse is just in Pacoima, so it's really easy to get to. So that would be much nicer. Yeah. So yeah, so those are my updates.
Pacoima. You say that so casually, like I've lived here for like almost 20 years. Where's Pacoima?
Pacoima is like Lakeview Terrace, Silmar.
You're still saying words I don't understand.
Have you ever been to Discovery Cube?
Yeah, that's a good.
It's kind of like there. That's the area.
Okay. So it's like kind of off the 5.
Yeah, something like that. Off the 210, maybe 5-ish area.
Yeah, like the 118.
It's where all the warehouses are in LA, in the valley at least. So yeah. So I like the location and being in the valley. I don't want to have to go over the hill if I don't have to, or go downtown like I was going to have to. So I think it'll be better overall, and good vibes. I need all the woo woo. I need the manifestation. Can I get some of your crystals that you?
Yeah, I've got some.
I need your crystals too.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Follow us on F Your Life Up Podcast on all social media platforms, and send us any questions to fyourlifeuppod@gmail.com. Thanks. We'll see you on the next one.